Hey everybody, I'm Katallina, and today we're talking about Lord of the Mysteries, Episode 3. Showing no sign of slowing down or easing up on its underlying horror elements, this episode of Lord of the Mysteries definitely kept me on my toes. I'm usually not one to be scared of clowns, and my eyesight normally means I'm not susceptible to jump scares. And yet, within the first 10 minutes or so, this show succeeded in making me nearly jump out of my skin 4 times. 2 of those were trying to get a screenshot, to be fair. And that's all thanks to this creepy little bastard with his glowing eyes and razor-sharp, needle-like teeth. Remember I said clowns don't scare me? Well, glowing lights of any sort used in a dark environment have been a thorn in my side since childhood. I have a very overactive imagination and used to think the mirror in my dresser was possessed when I was a kid, to the point where my family would let me put a towel over it at night to keep the monster in there from coming out. And as someone who went through a lot of medical procedures as a child, anything that makes me think of needles is a big fat nope. And this thing looked like it had hundreds of them. It didn't even need to get to the point where it was trying to do something to our team of investigators. It opened its mouth, it lunged toward the camera, and I instantly sprang back in my chair. Again, and again, and again. As for what this marionette reject was actually capable of, when its appearance alone wasn't trying to give me a heart attack, its power was pretty intriguing. It's tied to the Antigonus family, the people who owned the book the investigators are trying to track down. Listening to them explain it, the puppet put me in mind of an SCP, which stands for Secure, Protect, Contain creature, like the hard-to-destroy reptile, the Shy Guy, or the Plague Doctor. After using some divination to figure out where to go, which was interrupted but eventually successful once Klein was given a yellow gemmed trinket to help him feel his abilities better, the group eventually made it to an abandoned warehouse, which was where we spent the majority of the episode, with a big, multi-layered, and beautifully animated fight scene. This kind of happened in waves, the same way you would expect if you were a gamer who's ever fought a boss or boss situation, where you deal with one thing and then move to another and another in a sequence of sorts. The first situation was this hulking abomination, who swallowed the book our group was trying to get a hold of. Eventually, everyone came together to buy time for Dolly to use an attack that took the thing out. It was crazy, hearing the way our group was identifying it change on the fly. Initially, we thought it was a Beyonder who had gone berserk, but then we eventually thought that it was a dead soul that had been turned into this thing somehow. It was a legitimately tough fight for the team, and I really liked the fact that the show made sure everyone seemed like they had a role to play. So often, it can be easy for a show to lay everything on the main character, leaving the side cast to act like a group of cheerleaders. That wasn't the case here. Dolly and the others all played important roles, despite the fact that Klein did, indeed, help with some kind of talisman or other tool that he used to strike the creature. As if we hadn't got enough of the clown imagery in this episode already, the clown that we saw in the earlier episode, when Klein was exploring the town, came back. And he wanted the book. It looks like he's part of some sort of secret order, and when the little marionette we met earlier in the episode uses its powers to freeze everyone solid, the guy tried to make a deal with Klein. Safety, and the name of the level 8 seer sequence, in exchange for that oh-so-coveted book. Fortunately, Klein doesn't need Clown Boy's help, as he has access to the fog. And while that doesn't pull him immediately out of danger, it does give him time to think, and help him realize that he's not actually under the marionette's control. A detail the clown, if he's part of the seer line, should have realized was the case. But somehow he didn't. Even after this fight, we hear that this person Klein took out was at least a Sequence 7 Beyonder, so I'm a little confused about some of the details here. But what matters is that Klein is learning to utilize the fog, and he did find out that the next sequence for the seer path is the clown. So hopefully, there is something he can do with that information. Because it appears that his initial seer potion has finally settled in, and provided he can find the means, he's ready to advance. The rest of the episode was pretty chill. People were generally happy with Klein's performance, and he got the afternoon off. He goes to visit a former history professor, trying to find out more information. But based on how things go down, it's possible he just set up a situation that could bite him on the butt going forward. Everything is bright and cheery as Klein and this guy exchange pleasantries and discuss information. But once Klein leaves, things take a darker turn. I'm not sure whether the tentacle shadows and skeletal creature are a manifestation of or from the professor, or whether he's just witnessing them. But given how shady things in this world tend to be, my defenses are up, and I wouldn't trust him any further than I could throw a truck. It does a great job of presenting a potential issue for Klein and his allies, whether we're talking about the other investigators from the church, or the members of the Tarot Club, to look into moving forward. Lord of the Mystery continues to impress with consistently gorgeous, or sometimes gruesome, art, atmospheric music, and an interesting story. I'm still not getting a deep emotional connection to the cast yet, which is a bit of a bummer. But the plot, world building, and overall head-scratching nature of things is continuing to hold my interest. And now that you know my thoughts on the episode, what are yours? Feel free to share them in the comments below, and I'll talk to you in the next video. See you later. Bye!